Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Huber for Tradeway, and I am here to bring you Tip Tuesday. That's right. This is the time of the week when you get tips to help you level up your trading and level up your knowledge. Guys, you've got a lot that you can learn from Tradeway. I know that you've probably been looking at all the Facebook and Instagram lives. Some of you have already become members of Tradeway and dove into the education, and you just got a wealth of knowledge and at your fingertips ready to be used. And now you're probably thinking, all right, I want to start applying this. I want to start using it so that I can begin trading with a system. How can I get fine-tuned? How can I actually make this wealth of knowledge apply to me in my trading? How can I level up myself in my trades? And that's what Tip Tuesday is all about. And so today's tip is all about pattern practice. All right. So I know that whenever I first started trading, I saw patterns. There were some I could see better than others. And then there were times when I thought, man, I have no clue what I'm looking at. And you might feel that way right now, right? You might be looking at a stock chart and saying, I don't know. And so I'm about to pull that chart right back up, and we'll look through a whole bunch of them together. But if you have ever tried to look at stock charts and you said, all right, I'm supposed to look for a pattern, I'm supposed to trade what I see, but Dave, I don't see anything, you're in the right place at the right time. That's what today's Tip Tuesday is all about. It's about practicing patterns so that you can get fine-tuned in them. Now, have you ever heard that trading is like art and not science? If you have, throw it in the comments. And some of you probably have begun trading, and you may have discovered just how much like an art form it is. It's more of an art than it is a science. And that should actually be comforting to you. For many people, it's not, especially if you're technically minded, if you're the type who wants a rigid just set of rules that you always follow. It's good and important to have rules, but life doesn't always follow the rules, right? Especially when you're dealing with human emotion, and that's what the stock market is all about, lots of human emotion. So you'll find that there are exceptions to the rules, and that makes trading hard for some. But you can actually take comfort in the fact that trading is an art and not a science. Let me explain. So for anybody who's ever taken some kind of, oh, hey, good to see you guys. I see y'all are saying hi in the chat. Susan, thanks for sharing this with a bunch of people out there, a lot of your friends and family. Hopefully they'll all get on. Good to see you on here with me, Susan. Anybody else who's on, just throw it in the comments. Shout out who you are, where you're from. I'd love to see who all's on with me. But if you have ever taken an art class of any kind, you know that art can be learned, right? And so if you've ever tried to draw something, let's take an artist, for example, right? The untrained artist might look at two lines. Let's say we have a really curved line, and then we have a slightly curved line next to it, right? So one's super curved, and one's just slightly curved, right? And to the untrained eye, the slightly curved line might look straight because it's next to a curved line, a very curved line, all right? And so someone who's untrained in art would draw that slightly curved line as a straight line. And then they'd say, I'm really not sure why my line doesn't look like that line. I can tell it's straight, but is it really? No. So the idea is that you need to begin to see the details, right? Kind of look at something and see it for what it really is. And when we're practicing patterns in the stock market, the more you look at it, the more details you'll begin to notice, and a curved line won't look so straight to you anymore, okay? So let me show you how that plays out in trading, all right? So we're going to begin looking at patterns, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go through and look at a bunch of stocks with you guys, because I know that's fun, right? We'll look at some stocks. These are all real-time stocks, and they're in the market, tradable today. Some of them are going to be a good buy points, maybe. Some of them not. Because I'm discussing these stocks with you, I am removing my ability to trade them. I'm not allowed to trade them right now because It's just a compliance type thing. But I want you to know that that means I have no vested interest in these stocks. So what I tell you is going to be just what I see, and you might get some really good insight from this. All right. So I know that it helped me a lot to watch an artist draw, right? And if I followed what the artist did, I could begin to see how things the way he saw things, right? And so since I'm a stock trader and I've been trading for many years, maybe while I go through these stocks, you'll begin to see some things the way I see them, right? Doesn't mean that you're going to trade the way I do, because it truly is an art, right? Because there are different trading styles, different buy points, different sell points, and everyone picks their own trading style. And because of that subjectivity, this is an art form, and you've got to figure out what is your trading style, what's your art, right? But by sitting down with someone who's traded in the past, someone who's been doing this for a while, you're going to get a new perspective, a new insight, and hopefully this will be very helpful for you. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to pull the chart up here again. I'm not just pre-picking a bunch of charts. I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you just how I look through different charts and how I draw my lines and everything. We're going to practice looking for patterns, because that's what today's tip is all about. Pattern practice. All right. So let me pull some stuff up here. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just going to start going through the stocks here. Kelly, hey, from Oklahoma. That's cool. I'm actually going to be up in your neck of the woods next week. I'm going camping with the kiddos in Oklahoma. So good to see you on here, Kelly. Thanks for joining us from Facebook. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start going through these stocks, and the very first thing I want to share with you, one of the first things that I want you to practice is look for a diversity of patterns. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for rolling stocks, look for trending stocks, look for W patterns and M's and cups and handles and saucer and handles, flags. You just try to identify all the patterns. And the reason why I want you to do this is because it's going to begin to show you the difference between one pattern and another, because it's easy to get some patterns mixed up with others. For instance, if you're looking at a rolling stock, right? In fact, I think I know one that's rolling. Let me see if I can pull up a roll real quick. Let's look at, I think NOC might be rolling. We'll pull that up. NOC. Okay, we've got a little bit of a roll. It's not a great roll, but it's consolidating a little bit right in here, right? But if you're looking at a rolling stock, I'm going to zoom in so that you'll see what I'm talking about here. There we go. Sometimes it will look like an M, all right, or it can look like a W, and you say, okay, is this a W pattern? Is this an M pattern? Or is it a roll? You see, so the more you look for true W's and true M's and true rolling stocks, the more you'll begin to identify what's the difference among all these. All right, so look for a diversity of patterns. Try to identify all of them. That's a great exercise you can do to hone your art of stock trading. All right, so yeah, let's just start kind of looking through these. All right. Why don't we check out NOC? I'm going to show you how I'll start looking at a stock. Very first thing that I like to do when I'm looking for patterns, I'll thumb through them real fast. I'll use my space bar when I'm using my chart, and space just takes me to each stock here. All right, and I'll just go through them like this until I see one that I'm interested in, right? Something that I want to analyze. And NOC is interesting to me for a couple of reasons. First, I can quickly identify horizontal price points. That's the very first thing I like to look for, is if I can see a price point that's kind of horizontal, I'll throw that in there. It makes the stock more interesting to me if I can see a horizontal price point. And this one, I can kind of see it's not one of the best for horizontal price points, but I do see it. It jumped out at me. They don't always, all right? Sometimes they're more obvious than this and they don't jump out at me. But I tend to look for horizontal price points first. So for those of you who are brand new to trading and you're saying, what is a horizontal price point? Let me share with you what that is. So I'll take this drawing tool here, and I'm just going to draw a horizontal line, okay? And I'm going to put it on the stock, and I'm going to start way down here, and I'm going to move it up just like this. And here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for several bounces off of this line. Now, right now, I can tell that way back here, I've got a bounce. And as soon as I get a single bounce, sometimes what I like to do is I like to kind of zoom out and see if I get any other bounces. I don't really much there, so I'm going to grab my line. Looks like way back in like 2017, I might have gotten a bounce again. But I'm going to move the line up till I get more bounces. You'll notice I've got a couple more bounces here in the end of 2019, last quarter. I still want more bounces. I could put a price point maybe here, and often when I have a significant correction in the stock, I will leave a horizontal price point right where that stock corrected to, because it's a very significant event, right? This thing just crashed and then it finally turned back around, and this is the point at which it turned around. So I'm going to leave a horizontal price point right here just for future reference. Then I'm going to grab my tool again. I'm going to grab this horizontal tool and go for it. Boom. All right, pop another line in there. All right, so check this out. So I've got bounces back in 2018. A little bit of hesitation in there, but it did go through because that was the big correction. But look right here, all these bounces off of this horizontal drawing tool here. So I've got my drawing tool. I'm drawing the horizontal price point. I'm going to do another one, grab my drawing tool again, put it up here towards the top. I'm just looking for points at which the stock has changed directions several times, all right? And once I have a bunch of horizontal lines, it will help me identify the pattern sooner, okay? So I've got my horizontal lines in there. Now I'm going to see, is this truly a rolling stock? Well, it kind of rolls a little bit in here. It's not a great roll though, right? It's not a great roll. What I do see is an interesting curved line next to the straight line. And that's what's great about having drawing tools like this. If I can put a straight line in, I can begin to see where the curved lines are in the stock. And you see how curved this is? I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. What we're actually seeing could be the start of what's called a saucer and handle. Okay, we could be getting a saucer and handle pattern in here where it just kind of, it's a long curved direction in the stock, and afterwards we're going to get a sharp decline, hopefully, right? If it's a true saucer and handle, it'll turn into a sharp decline and shake out a bunch of the bearish investors. And when I see a saucer and handle with this suppressed price action towards the bottom like this, when that kind of thing happens, and then I get a sharp decline, that's the little handle. So it should kind of have like a, I don't know, like a curved motion like this, and then a sharp decline at the end. When that kind of thing happens, that makes me say, all right, there could be an opportunity for growth in this stock. Curved price action here, that's called saucer and handle. Now, sometimes that can happen and be more tight. It can go from flatter to more curved like this, and be more of a U shape, right? And when that U shape occurs, if you get a sharp decline right afterwards, like a short-term sharp decline, that's the handle. We call that a cup and handle. So a cup and handle, a cup's like this, a saucer's more spread out. This is starting to look kind of like a saucer, so it's one to watch, because if it kind of comes up to the beginning of the saucer, which could be as high as 350, it could be way up here at the 350 mark. If it comes up to there and then has a short, fast decline, it could be shaking out the bearish investors, which could present really good buying opportunities. Am I ready to buy this stock right now? No, I'm not. But it's one that I'm going to watch. So I'm looking for patterns. This could be the beginning of a saucer and handle pattern. Let's keep looking through, see what else we can find here. All right. We're going to just thumb through some stocks. Forgive my internet's being a little bit slow today. Let's see here. Okay, we got a bit of an uptrend here on WH, Wyndham Hotels. Looks like I recently drew lines on this. I'm going to delete those lines so I can show you how I draw them. Very first thing I like to do, and you'll notice I've got some Horizontal lines put in here. I like to draw horizontal lines first. Kind of gives me an idea of where pattern changes have begun, right? So like this stock, I can zoom out a little more. This stock was uptrending, and then it turned into a bit of a saucer and handle. You see that? There's that saucer where it curves and then has a short-term sharp decline, kind of skyrockets up after that. It's almost a double saucer and handle. It's pretty cool. But it's that same sort of price action we were looking at on NOC. Very bullish there. Now, I don't see any major corrections in this stock for a long time, which could mean that the stock is going to start failing on its pattern eventually. But let's look at the pattern in and of itself. This is definitely an uptrending pattern. See how it's going from a lower point to a higher point. It's been doing that for a good long time. And it does have some correcting territories where it just kind of takes a rest, right? And this is one of those territories. So I'm going to grab my trending drawing tool. I'm just going to draw a line. I like to start with support on uptrends and then move to resistance. And I'll let the lines kind of prove themselves to me. That's something that I want you guys to practice, right? So like when you are trying to draw trend lines, you want several bounces. You want, 3 bounces minimum. If you can get 4, 5, 6, 7, that's great. And you can let the lines prove themselves to you. Here's what I mean by that. If I'm looking at a line and it doesn't give me more than 1 bounce, it's probably not true support, right? So I might move it up and get till I get 2 bounces, 3 bounces, and I'm going to keep moving it up until I get the most bounces. That gives me an idea of where support truly is. And the lines can kind of prove themselves to you because you want those lines to match up with current trends, past trends. See, right now I've drawn lines on a past trend here, and I'm going to keep those lines in there because if the stock ever reaches way up to a higher point, those lines could come into play again. So I'm going to keep those lines there. I'm going to draw some more lines. We've got some consolidation in here. Let's go with the most recent information now. We know that the pattern began trending again right in here somewhere. So I'm going to draw some lines. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. But I'm looking at an uptrending stock here. Look at this. All right. Looking at the uptrend, I'm going to go right off this 50-day moving average because that's where it tends to bounce. All right. And notice how it bounces here, there, bounces in December, in February, in January and February, and in March. We've already got lots of bounces on this line. This is a true support line. So, whoops, I accidentally created an alert. All right, so now I'm going to do a parallel line up here, and now I see, look at that. I've got a true uptrending support and resistance line going on here. This is an uptrend. It's a very pretty uptrend, actually. One to watch. Now, what I have to realize is that the stock has overextended above its uptrending resistance line, so it could come back down, right? It's far removed from its 50-day, which it has been following nicely. I'm going to wait until this thing comes down, see if it can pull back down to its 50-day, and then I'll have a great buy point if that happens. Also assuming that the market in general is a good time to buy. So I let the lines prove themselves to me, and I look for the horizontal price points. Those will help me know if the lines are proving themselves to me. And so I've got a good uptrend here. Let's keep looking. Let's see what else we can find. The very next stock, okay, this is great because this is a downtrend, all right? And it's kind of the start of a downtrend. We had an uptrend right in here, and now it just starts moving down. Let's go ahead and draw some lines on the downtrend. Like I said, I do love to start with some horizontal price points. I'm going to throw one right in here. Notice how it lines up with the most recent low, and it hits this way back here. When I see that kind of thing, it lets me know my lines are good. I like to see that the psychological price points where people, they trade this stock back up, they've done it in the past. Even if it's way back in November. I mean, that's what, 5-6 months ago at this point? I still like to see that. So my horizontal price points will help me identify potential problem areas too, which you'll see here in a minute. So I've got, yeah, I've got a bounce here, and it's a good little downtrend. Let's go ahead and throw the downtrending lines on there because we want to focus more on the patterns right now than we do on drawing lines. We have other Tip Tuesdays for drawing lines. I'm going to go right off of this high here and that high there. Let's make a parallel line. Okay, now notice how the parallel line lines up very nicely with the bottoms. Now, because I'm drawing lines on a downtrend, I tend to draw the top line first and the bottom line second. I do it the other way around when I'm doing uptrends. We'll get into a different Tip Tuesday for why we do that, but I'm seeing a downtrending pattern here, and it's bumped right up against its 50-day moving average. It hasn't really picked a moving average for it to bounce down off of yet because this is a relatively new downtrend. Could be an opportunity for some put options, right? If we get some downward motion in the market some more, the market's been kind of retracing a little bit, kind of been pulling down and giving us a little bit of a correction. So this could be an opportunity if the market continues down. Now, we got to wait, see if the market's going to bounce up. It's kind of right around a point where it could. So I'm going to wait on this, but it could be, I'm putting it in my watch list, all right? This downtrending pattern is going in my watch list. We now have looked at a couple of different patterns. We've looked at uptrends, we've looked at downtrends, we even saw the beginning of a saucer and handle. Let's keep looking, see what else we can find real quick. And if you guys have any comments, throw it in the comment section. I want this to be as interactive as possible. Kelly, Susan, let me know if you have any thoughts on this. Anybody else who's joining us from Facebook or from YouTube, anything that you have that you want to share with us during the live. This is an interaction, guys. I want to be able to include you in on this. We'll do this together. So let's keep looking through some patterns. Also, if you want, I mean, throw a stock suggestion up. We'll see if we can find a pattern in your stock suggestions. Okay, so this is an interesting one. This is 5, F-I-V-E, and check it out. We've got, this is kind of the beginnings of, well, not really just the beginnings. This is more of a stair-step pattern. You'll notice it goes very sideways and then up very quickly. Sideways, up, sideways, up. These are sometimes hard for people to see because it's not very pronounced. It just kind of looks like the stock has just been moving up. But the more you practice looking for a diversity of patterns, the more you'll understand the true uniqueness of each pattern. And you'll start to see a pattern for what it really is. So horizontal lines are very important when you're looking at a stair-step pattern. So I like to draw these horizontal lines. I like to kind of draw them right along the tops of the stairs here. The reason why I like to do that is I like to see what is it that's suppressing the growth of that stock. The stock was moving up really fast here in September, and then something just moved it sideways. That's a horizontal price point. Then it moves up with conviction again, and then moves sideways. So we've got a little bit of a stair-step pattern here, and you'll notice it's currently being suppressed. It's going sideways again. And one of the things I like to do with a stair-step pattern, Jeremy, yes, we will look at BSX for you here in just a sec. Thanks for the stock suggestion. One of the things I like to do with the stair-step pattern is I like to look and count how many days did it take for it to get through that horizontal price point, right? And I'll just count how many days. Let's pretend like this is 60 days here, right? And it did take about 60 days. And then I will assume it might take 60 days again. The reason why I will assume that is I'm looking at this pattern and I see, all right, this one took about 60 days, took 60 days again, took 60 days again, and now we have extended beyond the 60 days. So, and really not far beyond, because notice it started here in the middle of January. We're now in the middle of March. We're right at that 60-day mark. So this could be getting ready for a jump. No guarantee that it will, but it's something you guys might want to watch. It took about 60 days for it to jump before, 2 or 3 different times. So we've got a bit of a pattern, not just in the stair-step pattern itself, but also a pattern in how many days it takes for it to break through those resistance lines. It's pretty cool. Those horizontal price points can be really important. When you were talking about a roll, I thought of ticker T. Okay, Kelly, we'll see if we can take a look at that too. So why don't we jump over to Jeremy's suggestion at BSX, all right? We'll take a look at Boston Scientific Corporation here. It'll take just a second for it to pull up. Hey, I've drawn lines on this already. It looks like, Jeremy, I've done a little bit of analysis on this myself. You do have a bit of, we had some rolls, some consolidation. We got a little bit of an uptrend going on here, and it's starting to look a little bit more like a stair step to me. I'm just going to grab these horizontal price points and move them around a little bit. Here we go. I mean, we have a very strong move up, and then it's a good action. It's good action here with this roll. It doesn't tighten up quite as much as you'd like to see in a stair step. So I don't know that I would actually call it a stair step pattern, but you can draw support and resistance lines on these things, right? So we've got a support line here, and then we got a resistance line right up here. I might draw just a little bit further down to catch some of these other highs. And yeah, BSX, it's sitting right up against a support line. Looks like it's resting on its 20-day moving average right now. I'll zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better there, because I know maybe a little hard to see, but check this out. We're right up against the 20-day moving average and a support line. What I personally would like to see is I'd like to see a little bounce up, maybe a little clear candlestick, so that I have indication that this stock is maybe truly turning at its support. You've got a good little pattern to go by here. A nice low dollar stock. That's kind of nice. Just check to see, is it fundamentally sound? Do we have is it a growth stock? Do we have, earnings per share going up year after year? That would be encouraging if we do on Boston Scientific here. BSX, great suggestion there, Jeremy. We do have a bit of an uptrend. I like the price action on this. It's got some volatility, which is always good. Now, notice how this horizontal line, this is speaking to what I was talking about earlier, how it could present potential problems, right? So this thing was moving nicely between support resistance on this uptrend. And notice how the horizontal line has just come in and messed that up. Now, that line is true from way back, all right? So this is a line from way back here last year, all right? Last year, and even before that, I'm sure it probably hit back in 2019, 2018. But notice how it's suppressing the growth of that stock, and the stock has begun wedging. This is called an ascending wedge. So one of the things that I personally would like to see, I'd like to see a little clear candlestick, and it would be great if it moved up through that horizontal line. That would kind of give me a boop, buy signal, right? So something to just consider there, Jeremy, as you're looking at this. Hopefully that was enlightening for you. Kelly, let's take a look at T. All right, so we'll go T here. This is AT&T. Okay, so you have a nice little roll going on here. It looks like from these lines, I want you to notice I don't have little editable fields on these lines like I have on my other ones. That means I drew these lines a long time ago. And some of them are a little bit hard to see. I actually have a blue line in here, but the lines are almost exactly where they need to be based on historical data. So it's a pretty dependable stock in that regard. I'm just going to grab these white lines here. I'm going to draw these white lines where they need to be. These, I don't know if you can see the blue lines there or not, but those are old lines. Yeah, we got a bit of a roll. It's testing its outer limits here. It's testing support and resistance. We got a good little roll here, though. I like what I'm seeing. And I want to bring your attention to something else here. We had a downtrend and a double bottom. This is called a W. W's typically, they are followed up by some upward movement. W stands for winner. All right, so this is a different pattern we're introducing you to. If you've never looked at patterns before, you're really going to like this because we got a W pattern here. And that double bottom can be pretty powerful. Notice there's two different bottoms here. We got the first and the second. Sometimes the first bottom is a little lower than the second bottom, and that would be a very weak W. If the bottoms are even, and these are almost even, if the bottoms are even, it's a stronger W. It's better. But if the right side of the W, this second bottom, is lower than the first bottom. Guys, that's very powerful. And in fact, this one does go a little bit lower. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see it better. Yeah, see this double bottom here? And it's a little lower on the right-hand side. That's a strong W signal. And we do get a great little upward movement in the stock. It really tries to get hot for a second there until it finally settles down and becomes a roll. This may be forming maybe like a little saucer. It's not a very great saucer, but we've got a little consolidation here. And I wanted to bring that W out because that's another pattern, right? Now, often when you're seeing W's, these double bottoms where it double taps this bottom line like this, when it double taps, it's really good to see those after an uptrend. So you might have like the stock's moving up and then it does this big double bottom where it's like boom, boom. That shakes out all the bearish investors and you get just a skyrocketing stock after that often. And as you can see, even though this wasn't coming out of an uptrend, this is coming out of a downtrend. They do hold true in downtrends as well. This one hits that double bottom and then it gets a little hot and goes up for a little bit. So that's a W pattern. Now, if that thing was flipped upside down, right? If it was at the top of something and it was a double top, same rules apply, right? Like we'd love to see that second section a little lower. We still do it lower than the first. And what happens is you get a strong murder signal. M stands for murder, and this stock can just plummet after that. So, yeah, we've got a great little W here. We've discussed some rolls. Kelly, I hope that was helpful for you. You can see that this is indeed still a rolling stock. It's right up against some strong resistance right now. If you're thinking about buying this stock, then maybe time just to wait for a little bit, have it come down, pull back down to its support before buying in. It could become the start of a stair step. We don't know. It is interesting that it goes up and then straight sideways, right? In which case, if it is the start of a stair step, you'll see it break through this line. And you might miss some upwards motion. Don't worry about it. You don't trade on maybes, right? You trade on educated guesses based on the past. And we don't have enough information here to say this is a stair step pattern yet. So we wait and we see if we get a stair step up. If that happens, we might try to catch it early. We'd expect it to move up to its recent high, right? So if it is a stair step, it could go right up to here around $31, $31.50, something like that. And then as it moves sideways, we just count out those days. It took about a week for it to move up again. We might try to catch a stair step early. But for now, it's just a rolling stock. And that's all we call it because we don't have enough info to say it's a stair step yet. So it could give you some good price action coming back down. You might get a little pullback back to the 28.50 line. If so, you might have another great buying opportunity. Another good low dollar stock there. Great suggestions, guys. And so when I'm practicing these patterns, I'm looking for a diversity of them, right? I'm looking for W's. I'm looking for rolls. I'm looking for uptrends, downtrends. Do I see a stair step? Do I see a flag pattern? And some of these you may not have heard of. You might say, I've never heard of these, Dave. That's okay. You want to get more into Tradeways education because we actually teach all these different patterns. We'll show you examples of flags. We'll show you examples of wedges, rolling stocks, head and shoulders, cup and handles, saucer and handles, lots of different patterns. So when you're practicing, guys, if you really want to level up your trading, when you're practicing, you want to look for a diversity of patterns. You want to find those horizontal price points, and then you want to let those lines prove themselves to you. All right, so let the lines prove themselves to you and practice, practice, practice. I want you to level up your trading. I want you to take what you're learning from these Tip Tuesdays and start using them today. But I want to give you an opportunity to level up in an even bigger way. And so one of the things I'd like you to try getting some help. One of the things that really took me to the next level was I had mentorship. I had someone sitting there leveling me up, all right? And kind of like what I'm trying to do with you guys, right? Like, I can only do so much because we only have like 20 minutes, 30 minutes together on these Tip Tuesdays. And I really want to help you even more, right? I want us to get in and dive into these stocks even more. I want you to be able to ask more questions. I want you to be able to give more suggestions for stocks to look at. And I want you to be able to level up your trading. And everyone here at Tradeway, we're just itching to help you with that. And so one of the ways that we want to help you level up the most is I want to give you access to my trading mentors. I want to give you access to the same people who taught me to trade. And guys, you're not going to find anybody better. All right. So I want you to learn from David Mitchell, the founder and CEO of Tradeway. Learn from him. Learn from the guru himself, and also from another business mentor of mine, Dr. Myron Golden. And I'm going to give you an awesome opportunity to learn from both of them. Here's what it is. Go to go.tradeway.com/level up. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that in the chat for you guys so that you have an opportunity to just check this event out. It's coming up. I think it's March. Let me go check. I'm going to go check real quick. Let's see. Yeah, it's at the end of this month, March 26th and 27th. Guys, this is an opportunity to learn from two of the biggest mentors in my life, and I can't say enough good things about them. If you want a really awesome opportunity to learn how to level up, not just trading, right? Level up so many different areas of your life. Level up your mindset. Level up your business savvy. Level up your relationships. Level up your social life, your friendships, your school life. If you're still in school, your work life with your coworkers. If you want to level up church life, you want to level up your own personal devotion time. If you want true leveling up in any area of your life, you want to have someone who has leveled up show you what they did to get there. All right. So that's what the Level Up event is all about. And I'm showing you how I got there. I'm saying I learned from Dr. Myron Golden and David Mitchell, Pastor David Mitchell, who's my father-in-law. I can't say enough good things about these guys. They have helped level me up in so many ways, and I want to give you the opportunity to level up with them. So check out the Level Up event. It's coming up in just a couple of weeks, March 26th and 27th. 2 days live. You get to learn from them, ask questions from them. You don't want to miss this. It's an opportunity that you cannot let pass you by. So go to that link that I shared in the chat. And thanks for being on with me for Tip Tuesday, where we pattern practiced. Don't forget what we talked about, all right? You want to look for a diversity of patterns. Let the lines prove themselves to you. Use horizontal price points to do that, and practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the more intricacies you'll start to identify in each pattern, and you'll be able to see each pattern for what it truly is. Guys, this has been fun. I can't wait to see you guys in the Level Up event, and then we'll see you in the market. Thanks for being on with us. See you next time.